Do you ever draw an eye and think, wow, this slaps? And then you draw the other one and it's... Okay, to be fair, I was drawing that with my finger. But you know what? Rendering doesn't have to be as hard as drawing eyes. Hi, I'm Jen, and today I'm going to walk you through my process of rendering eyes. Before I get started, I've already done a walkthrough on how I rendered skin, and I will try and link that down below. But if you can, just leave a like and subscribe, it'll mean the world, and you'll see more of my work in your feed. All of my socials will be in the description, so you could go ahead and check that out. I'm going to do this 2 separate times, starting off with blue eyes, and later again with a brown-eyed character. Okay, so what I have set are 2 separate layers. One is an off-white base color for the whites of the eyes, and the other layer is the base color for the iris, which is in this case a sort of grayish blue type of color. I'm going to start with a new layer clipped to the whites of the eye, set the opacity down by 50%. And you want to pick a color anywhere in the purple to blue hues. Afterwards, you'll use that color to make a sort of underlining shadow at the top of the eye. If you'd like, you can also slightly blend the edges of the shadow on either corners of the eyes. After you've done that, you can go ahead and merge that, and the whites of the eyes are already done. Next, you're going to make and clip a new multiply layer, and using the same color as the base of the eye color, you're going to do the same shadow at the top of the iris, sort of following the shape of the shadow you made before. You don't typically have to do this next step, but for personal preference, I like to duplicate that layer and blur it out, usually with the Gaussian blur effect. And you could go ahead and set the opacity down just enough that it's barely visible, so for now let's just set that to 50%. On a new layer, I'm setting the blending mode to add, and this time I'm going to make these small circles just beneath the pupils, or the bottom of the iris. And I'm going to Gaussian blur it just enough so the bottom half of the iris has that light blue color. On a new layer, I'm setting it to add glow, and I'm going to do the exact same thing I did in the last layer, except the circles will be just slightly smaller. And Gaussian blur it slightly less so it leaves that shape that only has the edges blended out. Remember, I'm still using the same base color. On a new add glow layer, I'm going to also put circles behind the pupils with some color protruding out a little bit. And again, just slightly use the Gaussian blur to blend it out. And that is the iris part fully rendered. I'm not quite done as I still have highlights to do. Before we move on though, again this step isn't required, but I like to add an extra shadow on a multiply layer for lighter colored eyes. When you're all finished, you could go ahead and merge all those layers together. That's including the whites of the eyes and the iris I just finished. I'm going to make a new layer above the line art and set that to add glow. This layer shouldn't be clipped to the line art, by the way. And you usually want to choose a blue color for this, but since these eyes are blue, it could be between the blue and the green hues for the reflection in the eyes. Also, I'm setting the opacity down by 50%. Now I'm going to make these small oval shapes in the top left or right corners of the eyes. The next step is optional, but sometimes I'll duplicate and Gaussian blur that layer. Then below that layer, or above, make a new layer set to add, and you can draw in 2 to 3 little dots for the highlights. They don't need to be drastically large or anything. And I'm using an orange or yellow color for neutral light. And like before, I'm going to duplicate and blur to give it a kind of glowing effect. You could even change that duplicated layer to add glow to enhance that effect. And just like that, we are almost finished. I'm going to make a new normal layer and clip it to the line art of the face I have here. And I'm going to go ahead and render the lashes. I first want to make sure I color in the respective color of the iris, so here that would be a dark blue. Then for the actual lashes, I'm going to go with a nice red-brown color on another layer and just color that in. On another layer, set it to multiply and just color the sides of each eye, then blend those out manually this time. Then I'm using another add layer for the middle, and then just blend that out as well. Now you can actually stay on this layer and lower the size of the brush. You can use a lighter color for this, by the way. And you want to add this thin line. Make sure the brush has the faded tips on both ends for this little highlight. After you merged all those layers together with the line art, you are officially done. For me, the eyes are definitely always the easiest and fastest part of a character to render. And with a bit of practice, you can do exactly what I did, if not faster or even simpler. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm going to quickly do this all again, but sped up this time so you guys can have a clear watch without having to focus too much on my talking or whatnot. And you'll probably recognize the OC from my last video for rendering skin. So without further ado, enjoy this little time lapse. Okay, that is brown eyes done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and my walkthrough process. If you want to see more walkthroughs, please consider leaving a like, comment, and subscribe. My next video will be on hair rendering. If you have any more suggestions, please leave them down below. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Bye!